In the following video, we will explain how to take a purchase request through the quote request module. So to do so, firstly we'll quickly create a purchase request and then we'll take it through the quote request. To do this, we'll navigate to purchasing in the left list. We'll go to purchase request and select purchase request. Entry transactions will now be visible to the user. So for this example, for local purchasing, we will select all supervisor entry transaction. So now the purchase request screen has opened. All generated purchase requests will be visible in your left list. So now we'll start to create a new purchase request by clicking New from the right list. The requester has defaulted, the receiving site has defaulted. We can now enter a quote request date, and if there's a specific buyer that you want to select, we can select this buyer. Following details that needs to be entered will be the line. So if now we can select a specific product by clicking on the selection icon. And now you can search for your product either via the product code or the description. So once you've selected your product, you'll see that the receiving site is defaulted. This can be changed by clicking on the selection icon and then selecting one of your receiving sites. Material required date can be entered via clicking on the selection of the calendar. Material required date can then be entered. The purchasing unit has defaulted from the product setup. Now we can enter the purchasing quantity that we are looking for. And because we're going to take this through the quote request module, we will not be entering a supplier, as we will be entering that in the quote request stage. So we'll leave the supplier blank. Calculated order date will default. This can be updated by clicking on the calendar. If the product's price is not defaulted from the product setup or a price list, we can enter a net price of this product. If you do not at this stage know what the products will cost you, we can leave the price blank. See that the currency and its accounts is defaulted, and then we can also enter the analytical dimensions. Because we haven't specified a specific supplier, we can just enter the tax code, which is no VAT, which means no VAT applies. Once you have entered the products you want to create quote requests on, you can escape out of the last line and click on Create. Once you have done this, you'll see that a new request number has been generated. To view this in the left list, we can hit Escape and F5 to update the screen, and we'll see that it's been generated in the left list. So now if we want to put the request number through the quoting module, we can quickly memorize this code. So we'll use the last few digits, 100044. Okay, so now we need to go back to the navigation page. So we can click on Close Page from the right list. So once we're back to the navigation page, we can stay within purchasing in the left list. We can scroll down till we get to quote requests. And then we can click on quote request. In the quote request screen, we will list the specific purchase request that we have just created, and we will specify the suppliers who we would want to get quotes from on the specific products that we require. So previously created quote requests will be visible within the left list. So to create a new quote request, we can click on New from the right list. The user will notice that all fields have been cleared out except the QR requester, which is the same as in the purchase request screen, which is the person who is capturing the quote request. So we can tab, we can enter the specific site where we would want the stock from. Once we've entered these details as well as the date, in the left list, if we look at the bottom for the bucket, we'll see a bucket called purchase request. If we select this, this will bring up all purchase requests linked to the specific site that we have entered in the header. Now to select your specific purchase request, we can simply click on the tick box, and it'll tell us that no supplier or product links exist. Add with blank supplier 1. So this is just a message stating that we haven't added a supplier within our purchase request. We can now select yes. Now that the product line has defaulted from the purchase request, we can scroll down the line and we'll see that all of the details we entered on the purchase request will be visible, such as the product code, the description, the purchase request number, the purchase requester, the quantity that we want. And now we start seeing that we get supplier 1 with its description, supplier 2 description, up to 8 suppliers can be entered through the quote request. So for this example, we will enter 2 different suppliers. By clicking on the selection icon, we can specify 1 supplier and its description will default. We can click on supplier 2. We can select our supplier and we'll see that its description defaults. Once you've entered all the necessary suppliers who you want to get quotes from, we can click on create in the right list. We'll see that a new QR number has been generated, and if we go back to the left list and we look at the quote request bucket, if we hit escape and F5 to update the screen, we'll see that our QR number has now updated to the left list. Now the following step will be to click on submit from the right list. What this will do now is, if all the necessary setup has been done on your suppliers, if we click on submit, this will print the specific quote request to each of the suppliers. And if email addresses have been set up on the suppliers, each of these suppliers will then receive an email stating what products you are requesting a quote for. So once we click submit, the system will now generate and it will then print the specific quote request as well as email to the specific suppliers that were specified on the line. So now we've sent this off to the suppliers, and then the following step will be where we get responses back from the suppliers with their exact quotes. So the following step will be the quote request response. So now we can go back to the navigation page. So to go back to the navigation page, we can click on close page.